Zombie apocalypse.
Welcome to Bicol University College of Industrial Technology. Busit is one of the colleges in the East Campus. Originally, the East Campus was just referred to as Brasat Campus. Then, Brasat became Busat, and later on, the College of Engineering was added, That for a time it became the campus for Buseng SAT. Just recently, the Department of Architecture became an institute, and so the East Campus now has three Bicol University colleges: the College of Industrial Technology, the College of Engineering, and the Institute of Design and Architecture. Busit is easily recognizable by its landmark, a concrete sculpture of a man holding a mallet, nicknamed Boy Maso. Conspicuously erected in the middle of a crossroads, a few steps from the SIT Arc, Boy Maso stands like a sentry of the SIT campus. Boy Maso is practically as old as some of the buildings of the college. One building, which is older than Boy Maso, is the Electrical Technology Building. Right now, it is almost completed and will soon be ready for occupancy for the electrical technology students. In the building, especially the laboratory rooms, electrical technology students will learn about electrical connections, installations, and the like. They get to practice how to become electricians, and so the laboratory rooms are designed for their hands-on practices. The building will also later house the offices of the various organizations, including the college publication. Meantime, the building is not yet granted occupancy. The Electrical Technology Department is in one of the newest buildings, which I will introduce in a little while. Another old building which has stood and weathered innumerable typhoons is the long single-story building to the right of Boy Maso. You will notice that its rehabilitation is almost at its completion, and soon it will look as good as new and ready for occupancy when this pandemic is over. Half of the building and the end closest to Boy Maso was previously occupied by the Automotive Technology Department. The opposite end, on the other hand, is occupied by the Mechanical Technology Department, so you will see inside some of the equipment the empty students use in their laboratory, such as the lathe machine, milling machine, and CNC machine, to name a few. As I have mentioned, the Automotive Technology Department used to occupy that old building, but now the department is housed in the ground floor of one of the newest buildings in Busit, the Multi-Tech Building. In one spacious room, automotive laboratory showcases their various equipment used by students in learning about auto machine parts and engines, as well as other similar concepts and applications. Also in the building's ground floor is FabLab Bicol, a technology hub of the region where anyone can make almost anything. In FabLab, you will find various equipment necessary for prototype making, such as a 3D printer, laser cutter, among others. The second floor is currently occupied by the Electrical Technology Department, and the third floor is where the Electronics Department is lodged. In the Electronics Department, there are also laboratory rooms where the students get practical knowledge and acquire skills on the use and application of electronic parts, such as the creation or innovation of new electronic gadgets. To Boy Maso's left, but to the right of the SIT Art, is the building occupied by the Bachelor in Technical Vocational Teacher Education Department, or BTV-TED. The BTV-TED is the biggest department because it is composed of 4 different specializations, such as drafting technology, garments, fashion and design, food service management, and electrical technology. Part of the building, especially the drafting rooms, is already half a century old or probably older. The 2-story structure in the middle was added sometime in 2011. This is where you will find the faculty room of the department and an activity center in the second floor. Now, this building is where lecture classes are held, but it also houses laboratory areas for the drafting technology and the garments fashion and design. The laboratory rooms of the drafting technology students have drawing or drafting tables where students put to practice their drawing skills. These rooms are also used by drawing classes of the various departments. Similarly, the laboratory rooms of the garments fashion and design are areas for the GFT students to learn sewing, pattern making, garments design, and the like. Behind the TV TED building is another recently completed building, the Bicol Regional Food Innovation and Commercialization Center, which became operational sometime in the middle of 2018. As the name implies, BRFICC is where food products are innovated and later commercialized. This is also currently occupied by classes for the Food Technology Department, the department where students learn everything related to food science, food innovation, and other relevant concepts and applications. Fronting the BT Vital building is the quadrangle. Then across the campus road from the quadrangle, one sees another building called the Food Technology Building. This bears this name because in the past, BUSAT used to have 2-year vocational courses and food technology was one of the said courses. Today, however, this building is now being used by the food service management students where they hold their classes in laboratory. In the laboratory, students learn about basic baking, quantity cookery, catering management, and other similar courses. Across the campus street to the right of the FT building is another long building fronting the sunken garden, the Civil Technology Building for the Civil Technology Department. This building also holds the office of the BUROTC coordinator and the office of the college publication, the coverall. In the laboratory rooms of the Civil Technology Department, students learn the basics of civil craftsmanship. Behind the city building is the IA building. This is another building being used by the Food Technology Department for their lecture classes and some laboratory classes as well. Going farther down the road across the campus road from the IA building, behind the FT building, one sees another very old, vacated, and now shabby L-shaped building. This one used to be occupied by the students of GFT and the electrical technology students for their laboratory. Both the GFD building and the city building are now in the pipeline for renovation. Furthermore, a new food science building for the Food Technology Department will also be constructed. Then, we proceed to the last but not the least concrete structure of the college, another old L-shaped single-story building, formerly known as IDE building, and now being occupied by the Industrial Design Department. Here, the ID students learn the various types of design, including raw materials important for design and other relevant concepts. Of course, let us not forget the administration building, where you will find the office of the dean, office of the associate dean, office of the registrar, and the cashier's office. This building is actually far from the school buildings of the college because it is situated to the northwest of Boy Maso, in the same building occupied by the Seng Administration Building. Mind you, our dear freshmen, most of the buildings may be old, but these buildings have seen many outstanding students who have sat in the classrooms or walked the corridors or hallways and are now distinguished, highly admired persons in their fields. Today, you see old buildings, but one day perhaps, not yet in your time, the college will also be one proof that the university's vision of a world-class university has been realized.
Mga pangarap kayang abutin, pag-asa ang ambisyon natin, di kukuha at tulog-tulog. Saan man magpuntay, isa ang pulong. Ako, ikaw, tayo, kahit sino pa, pantay-pantay ang tingin sa isa't isa. Isang pangarap walang susuko. Kahit anong problema, wala lang yan basta tidaan sa ngiti lang. Pasok na yan at laging isipin na tayo'y tatakliwen nyo.
Ngunit kahit di mabuti ay kinasasaglakan mga balakid sa daan parang hindi malagpasan. Tumingala, sa bituin ng karunungan pag sinabing biyuan nyo hindi yan uurungan. Dugong asun at tinataglay, ilabas mo sa baon. Tanong itong ibinigay sa tinadya sa mga kumbaga. Iba ka sa kanila kundi ka nang iluwa patuloy niyan kanta.
Mga talento natin na iba-iba, sa pamumuno tayo'y nagiging isa. Sa serbisyo, hindi nagsusukuan. Kahit di na kaya, ay kakayanin pa. Tumayong itak, sumayaw tayo, biyugan nyo, sama-sama tayo. Tunay na naganda ang taglay ng ating mga puso. Walang susuko, kahit anong problema, wala lang yan basta tidaan sa ngiti lang. Pasok na yan at laging isipin na tayo'y tatak. Mayong itak, sumayaw tayo, biyugan nyo, sama-sama tayo. Tunay na naganda ang taglay ng ating mga puso. Walang susuko, kahit anong problema, wala lang yan basta tidaan sa ngiti lang. Pasok na yan at laging isipin na tayo'y tatakliwen nyo. Oh, oh, tatakliwen nyo. Oh, 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 laging isipin na tayo'y tatakliwen nyo.
Hello, hello, hello! Reminder to those who haven't registered on the registration link for this webinar, please register now to have your e-certificate after this. Sa mga hindi pa po nakakapag-register sa ating registration link, mag-register na po to have your e-certificate after this. Shoutout muna natin dyan ang ating mga mahal na viewers mula sa iba't ibang bahagi ng Pilipinas. Sana ay nakapag-almusal na kayo dyan at sa mga hindi pa, ano pang iniintay nyo? Ito na ang sign na mag-almusal na kayo. Baka marami sa inyo dyan ang naninibago at bagong muka at bagong boses ang nagsasalita ngayon sa inyong mga screens. But actually, na-i-host ko na ang ating Tech Talks episode 2 way back September 24. Maraming salamat po sa ating BSELT alumnus na si Angel Pahe for hosting our webinar for 5 consecutive Saturdays. Talaga namang iba magmahal ang isang busitenyo sa kanyang alma mater. Good morning! Magandang umaga! Maray na aga sa Indugabos. Anong oras na nga ba? I think it's Tech Talk time. Welcome to our Tech Talks webinar series, episode 8. I hope everyone is having a great day and feeling excited. Because in this episode, we will be having not just one, but 2 speakers for this event. We will be tackling all about cost-benefit analysis. Ano nga ba ang cost-benefit analysis? Ano ba ang maitutulong nito sa ating everyday life? Malalaman natin lahat ng mga yan later on. For the rules of this webinar, hinihikayat po ang lahat na i-open ang kanilang cameras, but make sure our microphones are on mute para focus lang tayo sa ating speaker. We can also interact with them during our open forum through the chat box if you are on Zoom, and you can have your questions in the comment section if you section. If you are watching through our Facebook Live after our speakers speaks, but you can also open your microphones to have an interactive conversation with them. I would like to give the gratitude to our diligent President Dr. Arnulfo Mascarenhas, our passionate Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Amelia Dorosan, Vice President for Administration and Finance, Attorney Joseph Bartolata, Vice President for Research and Development and Extension, Dr. Luis Amano, and to our exuberant BUEMD Director Rowena Zoilo. Our Busit administration headed by our supportive Dean, Dr. Jonathan Arroco, our dynamic Associate Dean, Professor Arlene Balieras, the faculty, and the staff. Also to the presence of our BSET and BSELT students and the students from other universities and colleges, teachers, alumni, electrical and electronics enthusiasts, and everyone. This webinar would fail to happen if it were not because of our beloved organizers, the technical team headed by an amazing Professor Ronel Oropesa. And of course, why would I forget? The brainchild of this webinar is the BSET Program Advisor, proponent, and project leader for this extension activity is none other than Dr. Kenji Merenciano. Without his idea, of course, this event would be non-existent. Thank you so much, sir, and sa lahat ng bumuo ng programang ito. I am Jean Benyuku, a BSET third-year student and the president of the SET organization. I am your host and will be your host until the last episode. And now, let us proceed to the invocation to be followed by the national anthem and the BU hymn.
Bayang magiliw, pelas ng silanganan, hanap ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka na magiging, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisilip. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mababaw, may nilagang tulad, awit sa paglayang minamahal. Pag-islap ng matawat mo'y tagumpay na nanininig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng malapit pagsinta, mo'y langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pa may mga pirang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Okay, so good morning once again, our dear participants. Excited na ba ang lahat? I hope you are uplifted by the BU hymn and national anthem that was just played. Kahit ako, excited na rin sa ating programa ngayong araw. So, to formally start the webinar, let us welcome our BSET Faculty Pioneering Associate Professor Joel Salas to give us the opening remarks. Sir?
Hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again to our 8th week of webinar entitled Tech Talks. This morning, our topic will be cost and benefit analysis. Let me first welcome our viewers this morning. We have our mainstayers from Jordan, Mr. Ahed Al-Fawri, a faculty in physics department of Al-Balka Applied University. We have also Ms. Jinky Miyamo, an inventory specialist of HLT International from Shaw Boulevard, Pasig Metro Manila. We have Ms. Cara Socorro Imperial, a student from De La Salle University, Taft Avenue, Manila. And also an engineering and technology students from Institute of Creative Computer Technology of Cainta, Rizal. Welcome to all of you. We have instructors, professors from Dr. Emiliano B. Espinosa Sr., Memorial State College of Agriculture and Technology, or the best MSCAT from Mandaon, Masbate. We have also viewers from Adept Ed teachers from Parañaque Elementary School, Cainta, Parañaque, Manila. Also, a private school teachers from St. Joseph Academy from Buhi, Camarines Sur. Engineering and technology students from Batangas State University, Rizal Avenue Extension, Batangas. And electrical engineering students from Polytechnic University of the Philippines in Santa Mesa, Manila. Aside from this, we have also viewers from our Zoom and Facebook. Welcome to all of you. Our topic class is about electrical and electronic device applications. It is about how we differentiate the role of electrical versus electronics. We also know how electricity is generated during the early days. We also learn that transformer converts high voltage to low voltage suitable to use in our households. We also define the term transducer, which is a device that converts one form of energy to another. An example of this are the incandescent bulb, the motors, the solar cell, the microphone, the speaker, to name a few. Today, we will learn the cost and benefit analysis. It is a way to compare the cost against the benefit or profit of a certain action, where both are expressed in monetary units, which results either to a new technology or obsolescence. So what is obsolescence? Obsolescence is the present state of a device which operation outweighs the economic value. So as Mr. Sale said, obsolescence is the opposite of new technology. I hope that you will learn something about our topic for today. And again, welcome everyone and happy learning.
Thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful opening remarks. So, for our first speaker, he is teaching at Bicol University in Legazpi City, Albay, as Assistant Professor 2, handling major subjects in electronics technology. He is a graduate of Master of Arts in Industrial Education, major in Instructional Technology at Bicol University Graduate School. He is also a graduate of Doctor of Philosophy and Technology Management at Cebu Technological University, a former department chair of Electronics Technology Department, and now he is the designated college sports coordinator of the College of Industrial Technology. He is the only Dr. Gilmore T. Olfindo.
Okay, good morning. So thank you, Ms. Ko, Dejun Ko. So let me share my screen first. Okay, so good morning to all of you, to all the participants for this 8th episode for Tech Talks. So the assigned topic to me is all about cost-benefit analysis. So to start with, so the topics that I'm going to discuss is about cost-benefit analysis. So what are the different content of this presentation? So we have the concept of cost-benefit analysis. What is cost-benefit analysis? The process of cost-benefit analysis, methods of cost-benefit analysis, and some problems associated with CBA or the cost-benefit analysis. So to give you an insights about the concept of cost-benefit analysis, so the ultimate aim of business organization is to make profits. Therefore, any system in the organization must produce more benefits as compared to its cost for the organization to survive and prosper. So for this concept, it is greater to see or greater to see that your benefit must be greater than the cost. So with cost benefit analysis, you also need a decision making about your choices. So for an individual, they might rely on intuition or the so-called gut feel for the right choice. They decide to do a certain analysis of the choice, or it may be a combination of both of these. Sometimes when we decide or when we have a decision making, we choose on our gut feel sometimes. For a company naman, being concerned, so the concern for the company is with the profit earning capacity and also the income flow. They may undertake a cash flow analysis or a full financial appraisal of the project. For the government, so decision making for government is much harder. Not only are they expected to consider the profitability or at least the neutrality of the costing, but must also include the consideration of the so-called social cost and benefits of their choices. They are also expected to act within the political environment to satisfy the political agenda set by the government of the day, and finally, must also comply with environmental consideration. So we are not just thinking of what is all about the benefits, but also the environmental consideration of what we are making it. So then we have also the cost benefit. Other issue is sometimes we have a question in our mind that is the project worthwhile financially, or it is the best option ba, or should it be undertaking at all? So we need to consider the cost and benefit, and we can have the action on that. So next slide. So what is the cost benefit analysis, or the so-called CBA? CBA has been established primarily as a tool for use by government in making their social and economic decisions. Also, CBA measure costs and benefits to the community of adopting a particular course of action. Just like, why do we construct a dam or a bypass or a road? For the improvement of the community. So if there is the cost, there must be a equal benefit for the community, or not just for the community or on that particular area. So next, also, CVA is a decision-making device for evaluating activities that are not priced by the market. CVA also attempts to stimulate a market cost. CBA attempts to stimulate a market result in areas where the market does not operate to establish prices. CBA attempts also to quantify and include and estimate costs and benefits to client, but also to rest of community. So before we proceed with the process cost benefit analysis, so CBA is very important in terms of evaluating the cost and the benefits. So we have the next, the so-called process of cost benefit analysis. So for the process of cost and benefit analysis, CBA is a process. We all know that presents a picture of various costs and benefits associated with either an information system. So a CBA as a process consists of three basic activities. First, we have the so-called identification of cost benefit. Second, the evaluation of cost benefit and choice of system. So now let's discuss what is all about this identification of cost benefit analysis. In this part, we need to identify the cost and also the benefits associated with a certain task or operation, or it may be an investment project. For the second, we have the evaluation of cost. When you say evaluation of cost, it may be the tangible, intangible, fixed, variable, direct, and indirect. And also, we have to consider the benefits, which is the benefits associated with each task, operation, or in an investment project. And also, we have the third process, the so-called choice of system. So the choice of system selects the best system, which involve least cost and yield maximum benefits. So in our decision making, we should also consider yung less cost but madaming benefits sa community or to the people. And when we do a project or a certain device or an electronics, we see the cost of the project first. Yung cost ba ng project will suffice to the benefits that will contribute to the community. So yun yung sinasabing cost-benefit analysis na process of cost-benefit analysis. So we need to consider in this, dapat madami yung benefits natin. Hindi yung madami yung cost. Kasi pangit yung madami yung cost, konti yung benefit. So we need to consider in this decision-making process, in identifying or in doing a cost-benefit analysis, that the more benefit and less cost, much better. Okay. We have also the so-called the method of cost-benefit analysis. So in determining the cost-benefit analysis, we have different methods. So first, we are tasked to identify all possible alternatives. Also, we need to prepare tables showing the life of the project, if possible, year-to-year basis. And if the project is year, maybe it should be a monthly basis sometimes. And also, we need to establish the cost of project during the year, including the capital, the operating and maintenance costs, and also the social and other tangible costs. Next, we have also to establish the total benefits to be obtained from that project by way of sales of goods and services, including the value of a social benefits. So it is very important to establish the total benefits of that particular project that you are having it. Because, as I said a while ago, mas maganda kung madami yung benefits compared to the cost. And also the cost must be calculated at the rate of interest. And also ranking in order of benefits minus the cost. There is a certain formula that should be taken off. I think that is benefit minus the cost. And also, as you can see, cost benefit analysis or the CBA unlikely to be useful techniques unless two main conditions met. First, investment must be sufficiently large or important to merit the time and cost of cost benefit analysis or the CBA. Social and other intangible costs and or benefits must be prospective and sufficiently large for selection by cost in use of investment appraisal to be invalid. So for this cost benefit analysis, there are different methods that you can use in this analysis. There is the so-called CBA for portfolio analysis for information system. So you should consider the different benefits. It may be a high or low. So in determining the portfolio analysis for information system, we have the so-called project risk analysis. So the high risk for that is cautiously examined and should be avoided. And the low risk should be identified and developed for a project routine. And another method that we are having for cost benefit analysis is CBA via a profitability index for information system. So this is there is a formula for that. The profitability index is equivalent to PB of cash inflow all over the investment. So that is for profitability index of information system. So there are different methods. Also, we have the so-called CBA via dividend payback period. Ano naman yung kinikita dito sa dividend? So more on ano kasi ito cost and benefit analysis. So you need to see what is the total initial investment all over the discounted annual cash. So yun yung formula for CBA via dividend payback period. Also, we have also the so-called CBA via accounting rate of return for information system. So that is the formula for that, for the accounting rate of return, is equivalent to average net of return all over the total initial investment. Later on, the next speaker, we're going to discuss the application of this cost-benefit analysis so that you can see how this CBA will be applied to a particular device or project. So for CBA, we have also the so-called problem associated with CBA. So every analysis has its own advantage and disadvantage. So the problems associated with CBA is, number one, we have the difficulties encountered in measuring the intangible cost, such as foul atmosphere on the intangible benefits, such as a peaceful neighborhood. Number two, assuming several order costs and benefits associated with the activities and estimating the cost and benefits involved. And also, one of the problems associated with CBA is it affects the market condition and state of economy. So we also need to consider that. And in having this cost benefit analysis, with a certain project. Also, we have also the so-called time problem with tackling future time problem by discounting future cost and benefit. Also, or we can also have the problems on calculating the correct rate of future value as well as the accounting for additional benefits and costs associated. So for now, I already introduced to you what is all about the cost benefit analysis. So now, so I will be introducing you our the next guest speaker for for the for you to understand the real application in a cost benefit analysis. So to further understand the topic of on cost benefit analysis, we have another guest speaker which will discuss about the cost benefit analysis of automated pili sorting device. So our next guest speaker is an alumnus um, of BSET way back in 2010. So Engineer Gilbert Nobelero was born in Camalig, Albay. He completed his BS in Electronics Technology course in Bicol University College of Industrial Technology. He pursued his study in engineering and completed his BS Electronics Engineering at the University of Santo Tomas, Legazpi City. He received his Master of Engineering program in Electronics Engineering Diploma from Bulacan State University in 2020. He functioned as a technical trainer and content management lead in the IT industry for 8 years. His expertise revolves around telecommunication, agile-based technology and processes. While working in the industry, he has also taught several engineering courses for undergraduate students such as Physics and Calculus and Antipolis Institute of Technology, Antipolo City. His current research interest includes machine learning and AI applied to precision agriculture and electronic waste management. He has also published 3 scientific papers, which contributed to his specified field of interest. He is now on the last stage of his academic journey in Mapua University, his dissertation as a DOST ERD scholar with the course of Doctor of Philosophy and Electronics Engineering. His research publication includes electronic waste analysis and characterization study, management input for highly urbanized city, and also the on-tree mature coconut fruit detection based on deep learning using UAV images. And last is the automated pili fruit sorting device using LSBM image classification model. So without further ado, I will be introducing Engineer Gilbert Nobelero.
Thank you
Sir,
so much.
good morning.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Doc Olfindo, for the very heartwarming introduction. May I ask if I am audible enough? Dinig po ba ako? Hello?
Yes po, you are audible.
Okay, thank you for confirming. So, it's great to be part of this event, and I also want to return the favor to our alma mater and, of course, impart some of my experiences throughout my career to the next generation of innovators and researchers. Bago ang lahat, can I share my screen? Allowed na ba ako mag-share? Parang hindi pa po. Ayun.
Okay na, sir? Pwede na.
Sige. Thank you. All right. So good morning again, fellow professors, alumni, students, my dear former professors. I am seeing few of them in the audience, fellow professionals, and of course, other roles in our respective fields, which I failed to mention. So hello din sa mga kababayan ko from Camalig, Albay. but I'm currently residing here in Maybunga, Pasig City. So hello din sa mga viewers natin from Pasig City. And nakita ko mga galing din kay Inta and NCR. So my name is Engineer Gilbert Novellero, and I am a proud alumnus of Bicol University College of Industrial Technology. And just to add some few more backgrounds of me during my college days, I was once the president of BISET way back in 2009, and that's when I was in third year, and I also became the vice president of BUSIT in 2010. And it's so good to remember the good old days in Bicol University. So when I was in college, like most of you, I really wanted to create a device that would help our pili farmers improve their efficiency during the post-harvest of pili fruits. Not only until this time, I was able to comprehend machine learning and image processing while taking up my PhD in Mapua University. So every time I conduct a talk or share something through training or webinar, I usually ask the organizers who are our participants for the topic that I'm going to discuss. And in this way, I can modify my presentation based on the needs and understanding capability of the audiences. So upon knowing that there will be a good mix of audiences, I decided to come up with a presentation which covers the fundamentals of the topic and is very suitable to the students, since majority of us here is coming from that category. So my goal today is to share you the learning from my personal experiences, workshops, teachings from my mentors, so that just like me, you will also be able to appreciate the essence of cost-benefit analysis and apply it to your future endeavors. So what's in it for you? What's in it for me, diba? Currently, you are a student, or some of you are already professionals, but eventually you will get into a point where you would be involved on a business. And in business, everything is planned accordingly. Startup business and even progressive businesses undergo lots of forecasting so that the capital and the invested money will not be put into waste. Large-scale businesses and companies where I was involved previously, they require business planning every time they are launching a new project. They made sure that they are spending their investment on technologies which are efficient and profit-oriented, and of course, performing risk assessment and change management afterwards. Kahit nga yung mga tindera ng kakanin sa palengke, di ba? Nagpaplano din yung mga yan. Magkano ba dapat ang presyo ng paninda nila para makabalik sa kanila ang kanilang puhunan at magkaroon ng kita? See, very basic idea, but for sure, you will be encouraged to pay close attention and listen to this topic. Now, to set the lay of the land, our main goal after this presentation is for everyone to learn the basics of understanding and creating a cost-benefit analysis document. So, moreover, our specific objectives are, number one, to show you a created project that we will use to perform the cost-benefit analysis. So hindi muna tayo dediretso mag-compute ng cost-benefit analysis. Let's first analyze and come into the details of what the project is all about. Yung i-compute natin for our cost-benefit analysis. Secondly, to intricately list down the components of the cost of our project using the information that we gather for our selected project. Third is to determine the benefits that we got from improving or after improving the manual process. Fourth is to understand the components and importance of computing the cost-benefit ratio. Fifth, to generate a cost-benefit curve and know how to determine where specifically is the break-even point. Sixth, to learn how to calculate the ROI or the return on investment from the completed cost-benefit analysis. And finally, to generate insights and pointers after learning the CBA process and techniques. So sa ngayon, ay may mga words akong nabanggit na hindi siguro nagkakaroon ng sense pa sa inyo. Pero pagkatapos ng session, for sure, ay magigets nyo ang lahat ng yan. Kaya relax lang kasi dadahan-dahanin natin ang discussion. So this is in line with the introduction provided by Doc Alfindo. But this time, I am tasked to give you a tangible application of the CBA. So the project which I have selected is my research output and decided to use this since we only have limited time to cover CBA. Usually, ginawa namin yung CBA na to for several days, actually 3 days ata on our technopreneurship program. And normally CBA is second to the last part of our business pitching activity. And there are a few more steps to make before coming up with an efficient model of determining if a business will succeed or not. And problem, or giving you several of them: problem or pain point determination, using the Ishikawa diagram or the fishbone analysis, the 5 whys, value creation, customer and market assessment, customer segmentation, creation of the business model canvas are just few of the activities to work on before working on the financial aspect of the business or project. That is why we have to know, para saan ba tong project na to? Para kanino? Bakit ito ginawa? Diba? So just a side note, what is expected today from my example is not a huge database data set, since this is only to show the basics of creating the CBA document. Okay, so this research project was presented in the second International Conference on Science, Engineering and Technology, or ICSET, held last January 28, 2022, just this year, in Singapore, and it was awarded as Best Presentation. So before we begin, let's break the ice. Can I ask everyone, the audience, to send an emoticon based on your profession? Can you just please send a thumbs up if you are a student, a heart if you are in the academe, and a smiling face if you are from the industry? Again, can you send an emoticon, a thumbs up emoticon if you are a student, a heart if you are from the academe, and a smiling face if you are from the industry or from the government office? Gusto ko lang makita kung buhay pa ba ang ating mga audience. Okay, I am seeing multiple thumbs up here on the chat box. Can I see more feedback? Parang lahat estudyante ngayon ang audience natin, ah. Okay. Good to see that majority of our audience is from that sector. Meron a heart, that's from the academe. Oh, I recognize Sir JR. Okay, I think so much for that. Thank you so much for responding, and hopefully you will be able to keep that interest throughout the session. Okay. So before we go to the computation part of our session, let's first have a quick prologue of what the study is all about. So at first glance, what do you see or notice on the image flashed on the screen? I'll give everyone 5 seconds to type in your responses on the chat box. Huwag kayo masyado mag-overthink. Sabihin nyo lang kung ano ang nakikita nyo sa screen. And every time I conduct a webinar or a seminar, I usually incorporate or involve the audience. So huwag kayong magugulat kung ganito ako mag-present. Ayun. Okay? Okay, nakikita ko na yan, mga pili, mga Bicolano, sigurado unang tingin pa lang, pili yan. Okay, pili fruit. Anything else aside from pili? May iba pa ba kayong napapansin? Okay. Thank you so much sa mga nag-respond. At least buhay na buhay. Ano yan? Anong lomboy? I am not aware of that word. Sorry. So, sige, let's proceed. So, aside from, Mangustin. Okay. So, aside from the fact that these are pili fruits, right? It is very evident that the image is a mixture of ripe and unripe pili fruits. Hence, the fruits can be classified into two different classes, right? So, the ripe, which are black in color or darker in color, and the unripe, which are the ones in color green, right? This is a basic idea on how humans can classify things, and we learn them by using our senses, of course, using our eyes. So our brain is trained so that every time we see an object like this, we can easily recognize the next time we encounter them. And this method is the same on how we teach machines to learn and classify objects. So this is my inspiration of automating the sorting of pili and in the attempt to improve the agricultural processes of the major commodities in our province, and that is the pili industry. So bakit nga ba kailangan paghiwalayin ang hilaw sa hinog na pili? For sure, alam nyo yon, yung mga taga Bicol, di ba? Of course, yung mga hinog na pili ang iniipon para i-process para gawing pili sweets or dessert, di ba? Yung nilalagay sa cakes. And yung hilaw naman sa ibang provinces, sa Sorsogon, I think, at sa iba pang lugar sa Bicol na nag-grow ang pili nuts, ito ay ginagawang pili jam. So, pili owners hire pili sorters to do the manual sorting of fruits. Okay? Now, this is the data that I have gathered from my research. And data is very important for every research and for any solution-based problem-solving activities. So from my interview with the pili owners and farmers, the average daily work efficiency of a pili sorter is 3 to 5 sacks per day. So the manual way of sorting pili fruits after harvest also requires cost. That includes the labor cost and the food provided to the harvesters during the sorting process. So the running average price of sorting pili fruits way back January this year, that is 400 pesos per day. So normal yan sa probinsya, parang below minimum, but that is the usual average running price for pili sorters, okay? Let's just keep this information in mind because we will be using all of this information on our computation for the cost-benefit analysis, okay? Additionally, meron pa ako ditong ibang data. So the usual harvest season of pili is from May to August, and that is 4 months. Sorting of the fruits is usually done for 6 days in a week. And the average daily pili harvest of pili owners, yung mga maliliit lang na mga pili owners, is 20 sacks. And 1 sack of pili is approximately 4,000 individual fruits in average. So I will be providing few more details about the sorting process as we move forward with the discussion. So this is just to give you a quick estimate to compare the sorting speed of the project and the normal pili sorting process, okay? So let me first give you an insight on the core principle of the device. And this is how we taught computer to learn the detection and classification process. So narinig nyo na siguro yung word na machine learning, artificial intelligence, yan yung ginagawa ngayon sa industry 4.0. And papunta na dun ngayon ang industry. Lahat halos gusto maging automated. Hindi na lang yung parang robotics lang. That is Industry 3.0. Ngayon, lahat gusto nang nag-iisip na ang machines. Sana wag naman parang gawing tao yung machines, di ba? Which can harm people. But that's a separate topic. So, classifying the pili fruits require pre-processing techniques to efficiently obtain the mean and standard deviation of the sample pili fruits. Maybe I am speaking of several words which are not comprehensible, but I will just give you some background how computers see or how machines see these things. So this slide shows the output of segmentation, which means extracting the components and features of the binary image captured by a camera or a webcam. So itong nakikita ng computers, hindi sila kagaya ng tao na nagbe-base sa kulay, texture, o kaya depth ng isang object para ma-recognize, di ba? Computers convert these properties into information that it can comprehend. That is the binary conversion. So kung meron kayong topic na programming, for sure, you know what a binary is. Okay? So when we say, para sa mga layman's, when we say binary, those are the ones and zeros or the on and off. Sa image, yan yung on and off. Black ba to? White ba to? May kulay ba to? Wala ba tong kulay? So yan yung nakikita ng computer, or that's how it comprehend yung objects na nakikita natin. So these are the color and depth comparison or comprehensive ability of computers to convert to its binary values. Now, so the images on the slide exhibited huge difference. Kikita nyo, ano yung nasa left side? Segmented unripe pili. Yung nasa right side, segmented ripe pili. So, makikita natin na merong huge difference where the unripe pili displayed a very small portion of black compared to the ripe pili, which showed the black color covering almost the entire pili area. And this information are the things that we're going to teach the machine to learn. And kitang-kita dito sa picture, di ba? Ang properties na ito ang naging daan para magawa ko ang program para mag-sort ng pili. And in simple words, using the model, ito yung program na ginawa ko, or the machine learning algorithm na pre-propose ko dito is the linear support vector machine, which is a machine learning and the method of converting images into binary and putting them into two different classes. So, pagkatapos niyang i-classify sa dalawang class, gagawa niya ng hyperplane. Yun yung parang border para hindi mag-mix yung hilaw sa hinog na pili. And that is how computers can predict and differentiate between the objects, such as differentiating the ripe and unripe pili in an instant. Okay, sana medyo nalinawan na kayo para saan ba yung ginagawa nating project. So this is the prototype of the project which I have created as application of the linear support vector machine, or LSVM classification model. And I named this innovation as the automated pili fruit sorting device. So before we dive into the cost-benefit analysis portion of this presentation, let's have a quick glance on how the automated sorting is done by the device. So the sorting process begins from the pili reservoir linked to the automatic pili feeder. Diyan nilalagay yung mga pili for classification. So after harvesting, ilalagay sa lalagyanan, which is the pili reservoir. So the individual dropping of the fruits is controlled by the cycle relay timer and the roller setup. So a motor controlled was connected in series so that strong spins will be prohibited. So a camera is connected to a computer that runs a program that is LSVM again, to determine the mean and standard deviation of the segmented pili fruit images and load them to a database. So the LSVM determines the boundary, as I mentioned previously, boundary or the hyperplane, so that for every test image, the model compares its parameters to the pili validation database and classify whether it is a ripe or unripe pili. Oops, looks like nag-crash ang aking PowerPoint. Let me reboot my PowerPoint. Diba? Ang galing ng timing. Sige. Pasensya na, let's restart the program. Medyo mabigat siguro tong PowerPoint ko kasi may mga nilagay akong videos. Okay. Ayan. Sige. Proceed lang tayo sa slides. Pasensya na, that is very unexpected. Okay. So, we are now on the third step. So an Arduino Uno is responsible of sending signals to the servo motor to behave based on the classification result. So if the classification outcome resulted in a ripe pili, the servo motor's position would swing to the right. Otherwise, if it's an unripe pili, it will swing to the left. Very basic functionality, but this is how we train the computers to do the classification works. And finally, designated round plastic containers for the ripe and unripe pili are used for sorting, where they are placed at the end of the conveyor line to separate the classified ripe and unripe pili fruits. Now, I know you are all excited to see how the sorting is being done, right, using the machine. So here's a video clip on how the real-time test was performed using the actual device for the fresh pili fruit samples. So let's check it out. Oh, sorry, I was on mute. While I play the video, I am checking the chat box, and Wenzel de los Santos was asking if hilaw po ba yung mga green. The answer is yes. Hilaw po yung green, and yung mga black or dark violet in color, yun po yung mga hinog na pili. All right. So in terms of the sorting accuracy, 191 out of 200 samples were correctly classified during validation, and we have 9 misclassifications having an average training accuracy of 95.5, and additionally, or 95.5%. And additionally, it took 6.19 seconds to complete the training validation. That's a very quick time for training. And the misclassifications was due to the deformations, irregularities in the pulp, and extrinsic defects where were not corrected or nor eliminated during the segmentation process. Medyo mahirap yon. Gagawan mo pa siya ng mga filters in between the process, and that would take long if you insert it in an digital image processing algorithm. So, yung mga pili, ito pa, na mga dinapuan ng peste gaya ng tiyangaw or tayangaw sa Bicol, 'di ba? Sa ibang lugar, in Ilocos, I know it's pronounced as tiyangaw. Sila ang madalas magkaroon ng deformations and pili pulp defects. And these are the primary causes of misclassifications, which are, of course, under the limitation of this specific project. Now, although the model's validation accuracy was at 95.5%, right? The overall real-time test, yung kaninang pinakita ko, it's still great at 98%. A total of 50 pili fruits were used for testing, composed of 25 combined ripe and unripe fruits, and then, or ripe and almost ripe pili fruits, and 25 unripe or ripe pili fruits. Nagkabulol-bulol na. So 25 combined unripe and almost ripe pili, and 25 ripe pili fruits. So as shown on the table, this includes the classification accuracy. And with a classification rate of roughly 5 seconds, yung karamihan dun is more on majority of mga 4 seconds. Pero kinuha ko yung extremes, that's 5 seconds, including the travel time of the pili fruit on the conveyor line or sliding chute. The system can classify approximately 720 pili fruits or 720 pili fruits in 1 hour, which I think, or which is efficient enough to help the pili farmers process the sorting with minimal human intervention after harvest. Okay, so that is regarding the functionality. Now we move forward with the economical aspect. So an amount of 4,544 was spent to create the prototype of the proposed device. Medyo mura lang yan. Mura lang pala sir yung device mo. And the answer is yes, because I used mga recyclable materials and also mga indigenous materials kaysa bumili ng mga commercialized devices or components. So based on the liquidation, the device estimated cost is very reasonably priced compared to the existing small-scale fruit sorting machines in the market, which ranges from 50,000 pesos to 300,000 pesos. So hindi ko na iisa-isahin i-discuss ang price ng bawat component kasi meron tayong time limit, di ba? And I have sent a PDF copy and also the Excel spreadsheet sa organizers for dissemination. And as a side note, in the calculation of the actual cost of the deployment later, I considered using a Raspberry Pi GPU or a graphics processing unit to run the program to a good number of sorting device to double the usual manual productivity. Okay, so using Raspberry Pi and also using GI sheets as compared to the boxes, mga karton na ginamit ko sa paggawa ng prototype. So those expenses were also considered in the cost analysis computation, cost benefit analysis computation. So merong knowledge check, oh. So let's have our first checkpoint. So sa mga gusto manalo ng 100 pesos worth of GCash, be the first person to answer the question correctly, and you can post your answer to our Zoom chat box. Pasensya na sa mga nasa FB, wala tayong way para maka-join kayo dito sa quiz natin. So sa mga audience na sa Zoom, use the chat box, and our moderator will assist us to determine who is the winner. So moderator, please check sino yung nakakuha ng tamang sagot. Unang tamang sagot. Ready? So the first question is, which is not true among the following statements below? A. The average daily pili harvest of small pili owners is 20 sacks, and a sack of pili is composed of 4,000 individual fruits in average. B. With the classification rate of roughly 5 seconds, the pili sorting device can classify approximately 740 pili fruits in an hour. C. The sorting process begins from the pili reservoir linked to the automatic pili feeder, where the harvested pili fruits are located. And D, the LSVM program determines the boundary so that for every test images, the model compares its parameters to the pili validation database. Your 10-second start now. Dami ng sasagot ah. Okay, time is up. May nakita ako kanina an audience from ICEP. Okay. So, the correct answer is, ano kaya sa tingin nyo? It's letter B. So if we will do the math, 60 minutes divided by 5 seconds, then multiplied by 60 minutes in an hour, the answer is 720 pili fruits in 1 hour. The right number is 720 and not 740. And by the way, kung sino man yung nanalo, ikokonta kayo personally ng ating moderator para makuha ang inyong GCash information and of course para mabigay sa inyo yung prize. Thank you for participating and congratulations sa nanalo. Now, this is the most exciting part of our presentation. And because we are now discussing the steps on how to create a cost-benefit analysis document, we will simplify the process. And here are the procedures that we are going to follow in creating the CBA document. Number 1 is create a list of the expenditures, the cash flow or cost, and their corresponding value. B, or letter number 2, provide a value to the benefits. That is what we call valuation of the benefits that we can get after improving the manual process, and list down the revenue of income from each benefit. Again, one of our goals here is to double the productivity of the manual sorting process. Number 3, compute for the cost-benefit ratio. Number 4, generate a cost-benefit curve and know how to determine where specifically is the break-even point. And number 5, calculate the return on investment or ROI from the completed cost-benefit analysis. So let's go ahead and proceed to my spreadsheet to show you the steps in detail. And moreover, you will be familiarized. And also, sa mga marunong gumamit ng Excel at marunong gumawa ng formula sa Excel, you will surely appreciate and follow along with the procedures. So, i-share ko lang ang aking Excel spreadsheet. And let me know if you can clearly see my spreadsheet. Kita na ba? Yes? Okay. Sige. So, displayed on my first tab in Excel is the completed or the product of the cost-benefit analysis document. So, what we can see here are multiple of information. Pero, wag tayong ma-overwhelm. We will dig deep on each of the component. So, unang objective natin is yung cash flow daw, cash outflow, expenditures, or the cost. Now, ang cost natin is composed of different components, right? And we have several listings of the cost that we've done to create the prototype. Again, we created a prototype, but we are gearing towards using a more actual devices or components para hindi na siya prototype pag inilagay na natin sa business, right? So we have the pili sorting device cost, and this is a one-time payment, or it's also known as an upfront cost. ang ginagawa yan usually ng mga businesses, nagpro-procure sila ng mga devices just to start the processing of what technology they are offering. Next is the maintenance cost. Of course, if you are using technology or using machines, you have to incorporate machine or the maintenance cost. You have the operator cost. So hindi naman wala na talagang tao na o-operate sa ating device. Meron pa rin. Paano i-on yung device, 'di ba? Paano kapag merong mga spills or very unnecessary movements yung mga parts ng ating device? Also, paano kung nagkaroon ng issue yung ating technology or the device itself, right? So, diyan papasok ang ating operators. Now we have utilities. Ano tong utilities? Utilities are the cost para sa kuryente, kunyari, kuryente para sa iba pang mga inuupahan, kunyari meron kang inuupahang building or anything like that. But for me, these utilities is simply yung bayad sa kuryente. Kasi since we are using technology, using a machine, it is composed of devices which consumes electricity. That is why we have here utilities. Now, we have for the benefits, revenue and income. Ano ba tong revenue and income? Napaka-general naman yan, sir. So revenue and income in this sense is just the benefit coming from the reduction of the workforce. Ano nga ba yung na-reduce natin sa workforce? Natanggal natin yung mga manual sorters. Sabihin natin, parang mali, sir. Bakit? Benefit ba yun, sir, na nawalan ng trabaho yung mga sorters natin? Actually, there is every time there are two sides of a coin. So merong positive, merong negative. Yung positive niya is yun, na-automate natin. Less intervention, tumataas yung productivity, and nababawasan natin yung risk factors of hiring multiple sorters. At ngayon, ang problema sa Bicol, iilan na lang yung mga nagaganyan. Iilan na lang nagsusort, iilan na lang nagtitilad. I've interviewed a lot of entrepreneurs for Pili, and they said paunti na ng paunti ang mga tao na nagpa-process ng Pili manually. Bakit? Napakababa ng sahod. Isipin mo 400 pesos. So majority of the sorters and the processors of Pili pumupunta ng Manila, nag-abroad, yung iba pinili na lang maging tambay. So those are the things that we can say it's a positive thing of automating, and there's always a bad side we can consider for the sake of those people who are who will lose their job, day-to-day job, for doing this specific task of sorting. I hope na nakikita niyo yung decision making. Nasabi ni Doc Olfindo kanina, CBA is about decision making. You have several alternatives and you can select which alternative is best. And in this specific project, this I think is best based from research. Hindi to hula-hula lang, okay? So we have food allowance. Merong food allowance, and later on I'll discuss how much yung food allowance per sorter. Productivity improvement. Diba sabi natin, madodouble yung productivity. And yun yung tinatawag nating intangible cost. Kasi na-double yung productivity, pero in a way, yung value niya is converted into a monetary value. 'Di ba? Hindi siya tangible na bagay. Doubling the productivity or improving the productivity, that is an intangible aspect of our cost benefit analysis. So let's proceed with the details. Kasi ito, napaka broad nitong sinabi ko, 'di ba? Paano mo nakuha, sir, yung mga numbers? Those are forecasted numbers, and we will discuss it one by one. Aside from this cost and benefits identifiers, we have here 5 years. Paano mo naman, sir, nasabi na hanggang 5 years lang? It depends. Okay? It doesn't necessarily mean na 5 years, since 5 years yung pinakita ni sir sa presentation, I will also do 5 years. Usually, yung number of years will depend on kailan mo makukuha yung break-even point. Okay, later on I'll discuss what the break-even point what a break-even point is. Pero for now, let's just keep it on our pocket and on our head at the back of our mind na kapag hanggat hindi mo pa nakukuha yung break-even point, don't stop. Okay? Move forward. Year 6, hanggang year X or year N. Okay? Now we have here cumulative cost. This is just the cumulative sum of each year's cost. Also with benefit, cumulative benefit. Same formula. So i-add up mo lang ito, year 1. Si year 2 naman is add up mo lang si year 1 total cost. Ito. And then sum up mo ito, si year 2 total cost. Year 3 is just the cumulative sum of the 3 years. Year 4 and so on and so forth. Okay? Now, we also have net benefit cost. Later on, we will discuss this and then the return on investment. But for now, I want to flip over to the other tab. Sabi ko kanina, magsisimula ako sa cost, pero I'll start with the benefits kasi nandito yung mga notes ko on how I computed each of the information or the data that I have posted on the final document. Okay, so first, labor cost per year. This is a totality of what was indicated on the information below. So let's first start with the first information. Ano nga ba 'yon? Parang recall to nung kaninang pinrepresent kong slide. Harvest season is May to August. That's 4 months. Sorting days, 6 times in a week. Pili harvest per day, we have 20 sacks, which is equivalent to 8,000 pieces. Kasi nga, ang average pili count per sack is 4,000. That's 4,000 times 20. And the daily work efficiency per laborer, that's 3 sacks per day. Kinuha ko yung extremes. Sabi nung sa interview ko, that's 3 to 5 sacks per day. Pero yung mga 3, yan yung mga medyo mabagal na gumawa. Yung mga 5, yun yung mga masasipag talaga, mga siguro teenagers. But those elders or mga medyo matanda-tanda na, 3 sacks. So I computed the extreme, yung minimum. Okay, yung minima. So the daily work, again, the daily work efficiency is 3 sacks per day. And how I computed this number of laborers? Siyempre, hindi naman hula-hula lang. Ito yung kinuha mo para makuha yung 80,000 or ma-process yung 80,000 pieces. No, it's computed as 80,000 divided by the product of ano yung 3? Ano tong 3? 3 sacks per day multiplied by average pili count per sack, which is 4,000. And we concluded it's 7. Actually, that's 6 point something, 6 point blah blah blah. Pero hindi naman pwedeng maging decimal number ang number ng laborers, di ba? Wala namang decimal number or fraction. So we have to have it at for a whole number range, right? So the cost per laborer per day is 400 pesos. Now, I also mentioned about food allowance. So ito medyo generous na to, 200 pesos per day. Yung iba nagbibigay ng 100 pesos per day. So in terms of food allowance naman, let's stretch doon naman sa medyo higher or the maxima, which is 200 pesos, right? So our total annual food allowance is 128,000. And usually dito sa food allowance, yung iba hindi na nga nagbibigay eh. And the computation for the food allowance is food allowance, which is 200, multiplied by the number of laborers. Ilan yung number of laborers natin? We have 7. We have 6 days in a week, 4 days in a month, and 4 months in a year. Ayan. Kaya kailangan mag-research. Saan ba manggagaling ang ating computation? Hindi pwedeng siguro 7 na lang para ma-cover yung 80,000 or siguro 10 na lang. So hula-hula will lead us to bankruptcy. Okay? Now, we have the total food allowance and the productivity improvement. Saan naman manggagaling? Since this is an intangible section of our computation, but I thought of if we are trying to double the productivity, for sure, it can be related to minimizing the labor cost in half, right? So siguro dun yung inspiration ko bakit ginamit ko yung ganitong formula na parang kunin ko yung total cost or labor cost, kunin ko yung total food allowance, and then I'll divide it by 2. That's why I've got this annual, or actually, yes, this total food or total productivity improvement as the value for the benefit. Now, let's move forward with the cost. Ito naman, yung cost computation. So, for our cost computation, uy, may na-miss out ako. Walang nag-call out. The labor cost per year. Okay. So, yung labor cost per year is cost per laborer. Magkano? That is 400, di ba? Times 7 laborers times 6 days in a week times 4 weeks in a month and then 4 months in a year. That's 268,800. Okay. Now moving back to the next tab, the cost. So the cost breakdown incorporates several components, and we have this information first before we dive into the computation. So una, ano nga ba yung device efficiency? Oh, nagkamali yung iba dito. Akala nila 740. Pero 720 pieces per hour. Now, the device daily operating hours is 8 hours. Actually, medyo mabagal to 720 pieces. And that's from a prototype ha. Hindi pa to yung actual na device. So, probably or possibly, mas mapapabilis kapag ka-actual device na to. Siyempre, mas fitted yung mga components niya, and also yung gagamitin nating components is a bit more higher in quality versus just creating the prototype. So the device daily operating hours is 8 hours, parang normal na worker, 8 hours a day. The daily pili harvest is 80,000 again, 80,000 pieces. And the number of pili sorting machines, saan ko ba to kinuha na 28,000? Baka hula na naman yan, sir. No, it's 80,000, di ba? Yung daily harvest divided by 8. Anong ba yung 8 na yan? That's 8 hours in a day. Divided by ilang pieces per day per hour? That's 720. And then why there is a multiplication there and then times 2? That is because we want to double the productivity. So siguro kung kukunin lang natin yung same productivity efficiency ng mga manual sorters, walang times 2. Pero ang aim natin is to double. Kailangan natin mas mabilis, di ba? That's why we have to multiply it by 2. And the number of pili sorting machines is 28. And the price per sorting machine plus GPU, ito rough estimate na lang to. Okay? That's a rough estimate. So, the operator count, ano nga bang basehan mo, sir, dito sa operator count? That would be just a presumption that for every 7 machines, sorting machines, there would be a single operator. So 28 divided by 7, that's 4. Okay? The daily wage of operator, ito, matutuwa na yung parang operator nito, 600. Mas mataas na sa daily wage or sa normal wage ng average workers na nandito sa Manila. Isipin nyo, nasa probinsya na lang to. Kung magagawa to, di ba? So the annual operator cost is 230,400, and this is multiplied by the cost, the cost per person multiplied by 28, di ba? Multiplied by 6, multiplied by 4. Ano saan galing yung 6 days in a week, 4 weeks in a month, and then 4 months in a year. Okay, that's the computation. Maintenance cost, same goes with what we've done. Sa maintenance cost, usual to na ang computation is almost half of the actual device. Para may leeway ka kung major maintenance construction ba to or major modification of the device and so on, just to make sure that the technology is running smoothly. Okay, we are dividing C8, which is the annual, or C8, this one, the price of the sorting machine divided by 2, and then we got the annual maintenance cost. Okay, and also for the utility. Now, we move on to the utility cost per machine. Again, I mentioned previously that we are just tackling about the electricity consumption per unit ng ating device. So we have lamps, cameras, motors, Arduino, and so on and so forth. Pero ito yung, hindi ko na iisa-isahin yan na. So the power rating are also mentioned here. Hindi to hula-hula lang. And then the electricity cost, I checked this a week ago. This is from Google and the website of Meralco. The electricity cost for not for residential, for establishments, it's 6.65 per kilowatt hour. So the daily cost, this one, the computation here is the electricity cost multiplied by 8. Saan galing yung 8? 8 is the number of hours, operating hours, multiplied by yung electricity cost, which is 6.65. Actually, yung G16 na to is the total power rating, yung total ng lahat ng consumption ng mga units. And then we have multiplied by 1,000 to make it in kilowatt unit. Now, we computed a daily cost of 66.43. Siguro ano naman yon? Medyo mababa na din, di ba? For a single device to, for a single device. Now, what is the annual device cost? This should be multiplied by 28. Okay, that's the computation. So, the daily cost per device multiplied by 28 na sorting machines. All right, so that's how we computed the details of the CBA. So we also have created here some very quick statistics of the cost and benefit contribution. We have for the cost contribution, ang pinakamalaki natin is operator cost, around 44% or 1,152,000. We have next is the utilities, 33%, 885K. Maintenance is 433K, and the pili sorting device cost, napakamura ng device natin. Siguro maganda tong simulan kasi mamaya mas ma-appreciate natin to kasi the ROI is that big, right? So the benefit, revenue and income, yun yung pinakamalaki. 1 million or approximately 1 million. So dito pa lang, parang may idea na tayo. Sabi ni Sir Olfindo kanina, dapat mataas yung revenue or yung benefit versus the cost. Dito pa lang kita na natin, 'di ba? So we are arranging them or ranking them from highest to lowest, and we will determine, okay, kikita ba yung negosyo ko, business ko? Hindi. Kung hindi, edi pag-isipan natin ulit. We have the alternatives. Food allowance, 'di ba? 640,000, 22%. And ito pa yan pala yung pangalawa, productivity improvement, which is almost 1 million. So, going back to the CBA, ano nga ba yung makukuha nating mga important insights about the CBA? Later on, I have a summary slide, but let's just first check on the overall cost to benefit ratio. Ano naman to? So, hala, ang laki ng formula. Ay, ang dami na nakalagay sa formula. So, it's a truncation, but the idea for the cost-benefit ratio, the baseline for this specific entity or element of the CBA is 1 ang pinakamababa niyang value. Okay? So, ito kapag 1 ang value ng cost-to-benefit, for sure, stagnant or hindi kikita or hindi magpo-progress ang ating business. But if you computed for a higher cost to benefit ratio, which is greater than 1, therefore you will expect a positive net benefit cost after X number of years and also a positive result on the return on investment. So ano ang formula ng net benefit cost? That is just the difference between the cumulative benefit and then the cumulative cost. Okay? Itong dalawa lang na to. Ayan. So, per year mako-compute mo. Now, nakita mo dito, negative, sir. And that is expected. Usually expected yan kasi nga merong upfront cost or mga one-time payment na pag-procure ng mga businesses ng technology na mga gagamitin para mag-operate ang kanilang business. So, kung makikita natin, siguro, okay, may idea na ako dito. Pero, di ba hindi pa to gawa? So, mga forecast pa lang to. So, question, yung cost-benefit analysis ba ay pwedeng gamitin sa ongoing process or ongoing businesses na meron ng actual na data? The answer is a big yes. Cost-benefit analysis must be nasa ano natin, recipe ng business all throughout ng business. Hindi pwedeng nasa simula lang kasi cost-benefit analysis will give you an insight what to expect in the next coming years. Kung meron kang actual na data, sobrang ganda niyan kasi ma-visualize mo through forecasting methods, and later on I'll show you what those forecasting methods are in business. But definitely CBA is very important and a keen model sa mga businesses. Now we have a negative value here and a positive value eventually. The ROI is the net benefit cost divided by the cumulative cost. So para siyang net benefit or your income divided by your actual na ininvest or yung inilabas mong pera. So yun yung return on investment. So negative, okay, lubog pa ako sa first year, tama. Pero sa second year, positive 2%. Positive 2%. That means lagpas na ako sa break-even point. Ano nga ba yung break-even point? Break-even point is yun yung tendency wherein the benefit is equivalent to the cost. So given that 2% is greater than 0, therefore, dito nakabawi na ako. Unti-unti na akong kumikita sa year 2. Year 2 pa lang, kumikita na ako. And kung siguro nahihilo ka sa mga numbers, just check on the graph on the right-hand side. Kung makikita nyo, nag-crossover. Lakihan natin ng konti. Nag-crossover dito sa siguro last quarter of year or lagpas ng year 1 eh. So first quarter of year 2, doon nagkaroon ng break-even point. So from that moment, patas na ako. Nabawi ko na yung ininvest ko sa business na to. Alright. So those are the things that I would want to impart to you on how to create a cost-benefit analysis. Usually may mga nakikita ko dito mga blanks. And then for example, gusto nyo triple yung production. Why not procure another set of PD sorting devices, di ba? Or yung maintenance, nakikita nyo, hindi naman pala madaling masira yung device. Why not bawasan natin yung maintenance cost? So, dun makikita na meron kang estimate sa ngayon, pero at the end of the line, once you are submerged with the process, dun mo makikita na pwede ka palang mag-adjust ng mga estimates mo from your previous forecasted values. Right? And also, pwede madagdagan yung cost natin. Meron ka palang idadagdag dito maliban sa utilities, gusto mo na lang pala mag-rent, di ba? For the benefits naman. So yung productivity mo previously twice. Now gusto mong ma-triple o kaya 4 times. So the productivity improvement, the valuation of the benefit will also change. That is the essence of cost-benefit analysis. Kanina puro words lang yung pinapakita natin. Now we are speaking with the application. So let's go back to, saan na yung ano natin? Ito pala. Let's go back to the presentation just to continue our discussion. Okay. Ayan. So siguro okay lang naman sa inyo na let's take a quick break. So before we continue our discussion, let's have a quick 5-minute break to loosen up and have our bathroom routines. So we'll be back shortly. Start ko na tong 5 minutes. Be back after 5 minutes. Makikita nyo naman sa screen. Alright, welcome back. Malinaw pa rin ba yung audio ko? Dinig ba ako? Hello?
Yes po, you are audible po.
Thank you. Thank you for confirming. Lagi ko yung ginagawa kasi minsan nasisira yung audio ko eh. So just to make sure naririnig ako ng lahat. Okay, so welcome back everyone, and I hope the 5 minutes is enough for you to refresh, stretch out, and be prepared for the next session of our discussion. So can I ask for a thumbs up just to know if everyone is ready na makinig sa ating next agenda? Thumbs up, thumbs up. Isa pa lang, ayan. Okay, dagdag na. Alright, thank you. Thank you sa pag-participate, and expect na mamaya makinig kayong maigi. Meron pa tayong two more checkpoints para manalo din kayo. Yung mga kaninang nakasagot ng tama pero nahuli. So may chance pa kayo mamaya. So to recap what we have completed, we begin our CBA by enumerating the cost involved in creating the device. We made sure that we take into consideration the necessary information to accurately calculate the value for each parameter. So there is no generic template. This is what I can say. There is no generic template as guide for cost benefit analysis. Okay, meron tayong siguro rules or steps to follow, but those are just siguro masasabi nating parang guiding principle. Yun yung magandang word, guiding principle. Kasi pag sinabi nating generic template, pwede ka na lang plug and play, lagay ka na lang ng information, i-compute na niya yan automatically. No, the CBA requires research, requires exploration of the possible alternatives, looking at the value of each benefit, and also making sure that all financial aspects of the project is being taken care of. So quick reminders, we have to make sure that we do the in-depth research and interview. So madalas, ang nangyayari kasi, actually, guilty ako dito, lalo na sa academe. Normal to na yung immersion is right after a device is created. Parang ipapatest mo sa kanila yung device kasi gawa na. Pero why not you try doing a research, try to interview the mass market or the people who would possibly use your device, and then from their feedback or from their inputs, make sure that your design is in sync or synchronous to what they are needing. Yung parang tinatawag na problem-based na research making, or what we call solution-based research making. Kasi ginagawa natin yung research to solve a specific problem na tayo mismo physically na-encounter natin. Ano bang mga common na problema ngayon sa ating lugar? I can say sa Bicol, 'di ba? Rampant yung brownouts. And why not as an innovator, as a technologist practitioner, 'di ba? Make sure we have to siguro makonsensya tayo na yung ginagawa natin ay sana para sa natin, constituents, sa mga kababayan natin. Huwag muna tayong dun sa labas, 'di ba? Bakit natin isosolve yung problema sa Mars? Yung problem natin sa mismong society, sa mismong bahay natin, hindi natin ma-solve, 'di ba? What's the purpose of being so advanced that you think of so many things? You are trying to solve the problem of the world, but you are not thinking of the low-level problems, the tangible problems that we can see right on our eyes in our society. So a very small mistake na i-bypass natin yung interviewing the actual people who are experiencing the problem, that would lead to errors in our computation. And for sure, kung siguro, ito, kakagaling ko lang sa bootcamp yesterday sa design thinking namin sa Mapua University. And one example of the speaker was, there was this parang playground type na device na kung saan nilalagay siya sa playground. But the main purpose of that is to extract water sa ilalim ng lupa. And this is a device na ginamit ng USAID sa Africa. So, pagka naglaro yung mga bata, umiikot, nagkakaroon ng turbine. Siyempre, pag may turbine, may extract na parang hinahatak niya yung tubig galing sa ilalim ng lupa. So, napakaganda ng idea, di ba? Napakaganda ng idea. Pero, sasabihin ko sa inyo, itong research na to or research output na to failed. Nalugi. Nag-invest ang US, nag-invest ang Europe, most of the USAID investors nag-invest dito kasi due to the lack of supply of water sa Africa, kailangan talaga nila ng technology to give alternatives on how to extract water sa mga malalalim na water reservoir. So, paano kaya ito nag-fail? Paano ito nag-fail? Kasi yung mga bata nagsawa sa paglalaro. And actually, yung worst na nangyari dito is yung mga matatanda is inoobliga yung mga bata na paikutin yung turbine. So nagkaroon ng exploitation, nagkaroon ng parang anong tawag diyan? Yung forced labor. 'Di ba? Nagkaroon ng forced labor sa mga bata and nakarating to sa government and they stopped the financing of that particular project in Africa. So kung siguro noon pa pinag-aralan nila yung capability or yung eagerness ng mga tao or yung siguro yung volume ng tao na on a day-to-day basis maglalaro doon, papaikutin yung turbine through play, siguro na mitigate nila yung pagbagsak ng project. At for sure, yung sobrang laki, billions of dollars na ininvest doon ay hindi sana nasayang. Okay? That is a very good example on why we need to make sure that we do our research, we immerse with the people who actually experience the problem, and from that specific actions, we can definitely create our design, which is synchronous, which is effective and efficient to the needs of the people. Okay? So, let's proceed. Ang dami kong kwento pero very relevant naman yung mga yon. So, we also created a cost. Actually, ginagawa ko dito is just to a recap of what we've performed earlier in the Excel. So, we also created a cost analysis by generating a chart of the data to have an idea of which cost has contributed greatly to our cost, total cost. And from our example, we have the highest cost and na-mention ko na din kanina kung saan yung mga distributions. Same goes with the cost calculation. We made sure that everything are taken into consideration, the intricate details about the current situation and how the transformation of the job from manual to automated will be converted into a monetary value, di ba? Yung sinabi kong intangible value na nakuha natin sa automations and must be thought and evaluated multiple times. So our example can be a rough estimate of valuation values, or valuation result, but you will notice that we are not just getting the values from thin air or from nowhere, right? We have references for every single number that we have listed on our CBA table. We also created yung benefit analysis na chart just to give the divisions of each. So next to it is the productivity. Next to this is the CBA table, the final product, which includes the BCA ratio, the net profit, and then the ROI. So we have mentioned about the net benefit cost, which is increasing every year. And again, the net benefit cost is the difference between the cumulative benefit and cumulative cost. Napakadali lang, very basic arithmetic. At the first year, you would see a negative value, and then the main contributor of this was the upfront cost for purchasing the 28 Pili sorting devices. But on the second year, notice a positive net output, which means a growth in the revenue. And we can come up with better insights on once we analyze the CBA result in a form of a graph. So the benefit to cost ratio, ito na mention ko kanina, the baseline is 1, but ano nga ba talaga ang essence nito? It's an indicator which shows the relationship between the relative cost and the benefits of a proposed project. So it is expressed in monetary or qualitative terms. So the formula to calculate the BCR is just the quotient of the present value of the expected benefits. That's why we did the valuation of the benefits, and then the present value of the expected costs. And again, the baseline for BCR is 1. Pag mababa or pag BCR is 1, ibig sabihin hindi ka magpo-progress, wag mo nang ituloy kasi medyo risky. Pag greater than 1, that's the time. That's a go signal. So now if a project has is expected, so if BCR is greater than 1, the project is expected to deliver a positive net present value. So for our sorting pili project, we computed the BCR to be 1.12 after ilang years yan? Mahigit 1 year, 'di ba? Pero yung computation natin is for 5 years. Yung BCR natin after that point would also differ. So 5 years lang yung ating parang maximum, pero again, you have the leeway to add more years if the break-even point is not yet achieved. Okay? So sa susunod na slide natin, yan, ito na yung break-even point. So the next thing that we have computed is the rate of return on investment. So ROI. From year 1, it is increasing, di ba? Which started at -11 and improved to 13% on the 5th year. So the formula for solving the ROI is just the quotient of the net income, yun yung sinolve natin, and then the actual cost of the investment in percent form. So since we obtained a negative net cumulative value for the first year, it is expected that we have a negative ROI, and this is very common. So eventually, as business progresses, the loss from the first year, yung negative na nakuha natin, will be paved off during the next years. And in our example, after 5 years, ilang percent na siya? 13%. At pag tinotal mo yung ROI per year, that would lead to 23%. So after 5 years pala, yung ininvest ko na ganitong X amount, imumultiply ko ngayon sa 0.23 at ito na ngayon yung kita ko. So your amount plus yung kita mo is your gross income. So on the other side of our analysis, we can also check the chart to determine the break-even point. Ito yung break-even point na sinasabi ko na yung cost and benefit are equal. So you will refer to the yellow colored plus sign, and it tells us that from that point, that can be the last quarter or the first quarter of year 2, and the business will start to earn money. Okay? Hindi pa masyadong malaki kasi 2% pa lang eh. So multiply mo yung investment mo by 0.02. Ay makukuha mo ngayon yung income. So ito, medyo out of topic, pero I just want to include kasi napaka-importante nito given na we're using CBA for forecasting, for estimating, right? So one more benefit of CBA is the fact that it can be used to forecast if business will grow or not. And although the outcome of our benefit to cost ratio and ROI are both positives, we can definitely expect a growth on our business. So let's still check if the numbers are telling the truth. Another statistical method that can forecast the performance of a business is in X number of years is by using linear regression analysis. I think you have heard this word, the linear regression analysis, in your statistics, or if you're doing your master's, your advanced linear statistics or advanced statistics, diba? You have heard this, and this is one of those forecasting methods. So, meron nagsabi, industrial statistics. Thank you so much. So, si Doc Olfindo pala. So, I intended not to discuss on how to create this graph. I included this on the spreadsheet, but it's the detail of what to expect. It's a separate topic and can be part of your lessons in statistics. Kaya bahala na lang yung professor nyo na mag-discuss nito at magtanong kayo. pwede ba sir makahingi ng application kung saan ba natin gagamitin yung mga regression analysis na yan? Kasi merong linear, merong yung iba pang types ng mga regression analysis. Okay? So, yung intention ko lang is to show you that using the data from our CBA, we can actually predict the future relationships in the cost and benefit map. And to give you a quick hint on how to read the graph, just focus your attention on the R squared. Ayan, nakikita nyo sa bandang dulo na ng trend line. May R dyan, R squared. R squared is the coefficient of variation values. And it explains how dispersed our dataset is. And kapag very dispersed, wala siyang correlation. Parang hindi mo makikita yung trend. Paangat ba to? Parang chaotic ang ating forecast. So, in a chaotic map or forecasting analysis trend line, hindi tayo pwedeng makapagsabi na, magpo-progress ang business ko. Lulubog ang business ko. Kasi chaotic. Wala kang makuhang trend line, parang buhol-buhol, parang buhok ni Merida. So the trend line on the graph would shows us here. Before that, the R squared here is should be above 0.95 for a regression model to be considered as reliable. So here our R squared is 1.0. So more than or greater than 0.95. And also, the trend line on the graph shows a positive correlation. Pag ganyan yung graph mo, positive correlation yan. Ibig sabihin, every step, nadadagdagan siya. Maganda nga kapag medyo pag curvy linear. So, ibig sabihin, pagka curvy linear, hindi linear, ngayon medyo mahina ka, pero at the succeeding years, parang biglang tataas. So sa mga nag-aaksi, yung mga nag-crypto diyan, alam nyo kung ano yung mga sinasabing trend line, kung kailan yung business or yung market maganda, kailan bumabagsak. So there are so many applications of forecasting in so many ways, okay? Now, we also have here, para mas madali natin ma-appreciate yung forecasting, di ba kanina, pinakita ko pa yung R squared. Why not using a bar graph instead? So this simply gives us the expected values of the project given that the parameters are not changed in the succeeding year. So kunyari, hindi natin kino-consider na may nasirang device or merong issue sa maintenance, mababa pala yung maintenance projection natin. So given that there are no changes in our estimates, this would be the actual values. So at year 10, tingnan nyo, sobrang laki na niya. Aabot na yung revenue natin ng 6 million. Di ba? So these are actual values. And the forecasting is very relevant so that businessmen and researchers or patent makers has an idea if they will succeed, if they will continue or pursue their venture on this specific technology or not. Okay? Now, ito yung exciting part. Ready na yung mga dyan, abangers. Let's have our second knowledge check. And again, mananalo ng 100 pesos worth of GCash ang unang participant na makakasagot ng tama. The question is, which is true among the following statements below? Type the letter of your answer in the chat box. A, thorough research is not necessary in building a cost-benefit analysis. Rough estimates can be provided without checking the references. B, if our benefit to cost ratio and ROI are both positive, we can expect a failure on our business or market. C, if a project has a benefit to cost ratio greater than 1.0, the project is expected to deliver a positive net present value. Or D, return on investment is the point where the cost and revenue are equal. Your 10 seconds starts now. Okay, that's it. Medyo misleading yung mga ano ko. Setup ko talaga to. So, kanina, yung unang question is, which is not the correct statement. Now, which is true among the statement. And the correct answer is letter C. So if we get a benefit to cost ratio greater than 1, we can definitely expect a progressive revenue with our business. So congratulations sa nanalo. Moderator, paki-check na lang kung sino po ang nakakuha. So sa mga nakakuha ng tamang sagot pero medyo nahuli ng kaunti, don't worry kasi meron pa tayong isang checkpoint bago matapos ang ating presentation. So please be ready and try again. I am also seeing multiple answers sa isang question. So i-invalidate natin yun kasi nilagay mo lahat ng options eh. So you failed to select the correct answer instead. Okay, so let's proceed with our last section of the presentation. So let's share the insights that we learned about the cost-benefit analysis and also looking back at the introduction of Doc Olfindo. And this would also serve as our summary of what we have accomplished today. So number 1, CBA is a technique that relies on data-driven decision-making. Again, data-driven decision-making. Any outcome that is recommended relies on quantifiable information and that has been gathered specific to a single problem. Kitang-kita naman sa example natin, kailangan ay may konkrete tayong estimation ng mga cash inflow at outflow ng project, di ba? And our data for the numbers that we are going to use in our calculation should be true to life naman, di ba? Huwag masyadong malayo sa target. That is why it's very important to make sure that we input realistic data and not just presumption or pure estimation without basis. Number 2, a cost-benefit analysis requires substantial research across all types of cost and benefits, 'di ba? Yung example ko about the yung water extraction, 'di ba, sa Africa, that is one of the things, parang worst things, a dead end, a failure of a specific technology. So this means considering ito pa, unpredictable cost changes, 'di ba? 'Di ba may mga pagbabago sa cost due to inflation, due to some kind of catastrophes or calamities in the location, 'di ba? Meron mga ganyan na pabago-bago yung cost ng mga devices. And understanding expense types and characteristics. So this level of analysis strengthens the finding of a more reliable research as we perform the state of or computing the income after implementing the cost and benefit ratio, okay, or cost and benefit analysis. Therefore, to create a meaningful and effective CBA, again, research. Mag-research wholeheartedly. Hindi lang for the sake of passing this subject. Siguro, common yan sa academe kasi we are bounded with time. But hopefully, our research should not just go into the shelves of our library. Our research should be used for the benefit of the society and mankind. So hindi pwedeng haba, 'di ba? Hindi pwede hula-hula lang, tamang hinala lang. Mahirap 'yan, baka di mo alam iba na pala ang gusto ng trip mong tao. Alamin niyo 'yan. Alamin natin using research, 'di ba? So the ultimate result, that's number 3, the ultimate result of a cost-benefit analysis is to deliver a simple report. So what I showed you is a very simple report, which makes it easier to make decisions. And this is very true. Maganda ang pagkakaroon ng CBA as starting point of assessing our prospect project or business. And we will serve as, or CBA will serve as the baseline for other cost-benefit estimations. Next, CBA is dependent on forecasted values and any unnecessary change or variation in the calculation or valuation of the cost and benefit would tremendously affect the result of the model. So may mga pagkakataon nga, tsaka mga hindi inaasahang expenses na kailanganin sa ilang years ng operation ng ating business or project. So ang mga unexpected changes at expenses na ito ay hindi covered ng initial CBA calculation natin. Not unless parang Nostradamus ka na, okay, next year, yung presyo ng asukal ay 10 pesos na lang. Meron kang parang third eye or telepathic memory or skills, di ba? Pero wala tayong ganon. That is why every change sa market, we have to update our CBA. Ito pa, yung mga values ng prices na nilagay natin kanina as initial estimates, like the price of the motors, 2 to 3 years from now, iba na ang value nila. And the noticeable effect of inflation in the market is the increase in the price of commodities. Yung mga basic needs ng tao. Majority food, shelter, clothing, and so on. And iba pang mga merchandises. So CBA must be updated from time to time, and there should be a manager or a report specialist to make sure that the CBA of the company is being taken care of and updated from time to time. So much for the summary. Let's move on to our final checkpoint. Okay, last na to. Pasensya na, hanggang 300 pesos lang ang aking budget para i-cover ang mga knowledge checks prices. Okay, so since this is our final knowledge check, let's make it a bonus question. Okay, this is no longer a multiple choice type of question, so be ready. Okay, this is an identification type of question. So the question is, what is the machine learning that was used in implementing the automated pili fruit sorting device? Acronyms are accepted. Timer starts now. Alright, kita ko, isa lang ang nakasagot. Congratulations, Victor Jan Farenas from Busit. Congratulations, ikaw na yung nakakuha ng last. So the answer is linear support vector machine. I can accept SVM or support vector machine. I will also accept LSVM or SVM. So sa mga nanalo sa ating knowledge checks, please don't forget to provide your GCash numbers to our organizers for the prizes. So thank you so much sa lahat ng nag-participate sa ating knowledge check at sa inyong mga nag-focus sa pakikinig sa ating presentation. Sana may napulot kayong aral sa lecture at sa mga binigay kong tips, di ba? Again, I am providing the organizers a PDF copy of actually I provided them with a PDF copy of my presentation and the sample Excel spreadsheet which I have shown you earlier as the CBA calculation document. And they can disseminate them to you as reference. So before I end up this presentation, I am leaving you guys with an inspirational message from my favorite physicist, Albert Einstein. So he said, life is like riding a bicycle. So to keep your balance, you must keep moving. Siguro napaka-literal nung sinabi niya na sa pagbibisikleta, totoo nga naman na para di ka bumagsak o sumemplang, di ba? Ituloy mo lang ang pagpedal at mapapansin mo na nahanap mo na paunti-unti yung balance. Tapos makakarating ka na ngayon sa Imbornal. Just kidding. I mean, makakarating ka sa yung gustong destination, di ba? So to ponder this message from Sir Albert Einstein, life is very complex and its surprises does not stop after you accomplish something like obtaining your bachelor's degree or getting a graduate diploma or even you became the richest person in the world. You will still have multiple problems. You will still feel pain and heartaches. And the balance that Einstein is talking about here is the happiness that you get for all the things that you are working for, that you are doing in life. And even though the road you are currently taking now is rocky, complicated, diba? Just keep moving. Eventually, you will know your worth and your true aspirations. From there, you will keep the balance and become successful and happy in life. Yon. Tayo po ay tumayo at so if you have questions about the topic or even outside of our discussion after we leave this webinar, please feel free to contact me through these platforms. And by the way, I just would like to take this opportunity to promote my YouTube channel, Inhinyerong Bolero. So my contents are all educational and for sure, mga engineering dyan, mga technology students, for sure, these videos are there which might or there are videos that might catch your attention. And nandito sa channel ko ang step-by-step process kung paano ko ginawa yung automated pili fruit sorting device and also the programming behind, and also yung iba ko pang research projects, the on-tree mature coconut detection. So you can also share my channel to your friends and see if they can find videos there that will find or that will arouse their interest. Now, dito na lang ang aking presentation. Thank you so much sa nag-participate, and since we still have enough time, I am now opening the floor for questions. And actually, I am calling out Doc Olfindo. We can do a tandem to answer the questions from our attendees. And also, may I ask the organizer to post the names of the winners just to acknowledge who among or recognize who are the participants who won our knowledge checks. Sana hindi kayo na-bored sa ating presentation, di ba? Mga pang-energize tayong mga activities na ganyan. Any questions? You can unmute your microphone. You can show yourself by opening your camera. Huwag mahihiya kahit yung mga nasa BJMP dyan or nasa mga taga-ibang lugar from NCR. From the academe or from the industry? Anyone? Any questions? Kasi pagka wala kayong tanong, ibig sabihin, very clear ang ating discussion, and it's a proof na nakuha nyo yung gist or the data or the details that we want to impart with you guys. Puro thank you message ang aking nakikita. I am not seeing any questions so far. Doc Olfindo, any final words of advice sa ating mga audience for our TikTok?
Okay, sir. I think
pala.
our host will be the one to talk.
Wrap up. Okay.
Wrap up or any
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Thank you po.
I will give the floor to our host, Miss Ko.
Okay. Thank you, Sir Gilmore and Engineer Novellero, for the meaningful and very informative presentation. I know some of you or lahat naman sa inyo or sa atin ay nakarelate sa mga sinabi at na-discuss ng ating mga speaker kanina. At yung iba ay na-experience na, baka ang iba nga dito sa inyo ay may business na, o baka nga may plano mag-business pero hindi pa alam kung paano mag-start. Well, big thanks kay TechTalk at nabigyan tayo ng knowledge ngayon on how to do it. Sabi nga ni Engineer Novellero kanina, hanggat hindi pa nakikita ang break-even point, wag tayong tumigil. And it is important to do your research and surround yourself with people na may experience regarding your research. Basta businessman, grinder yan. Life is like riding a bicycle nga, sabi kanina. To keep your balance and you must keep moving, diba? Galing yan kay Einstein. Thank you for that very inspiring and informative talk, Sir Gilmore and Engineer Novellero once again. And of course, salamat po for the games. For sure, ang ating viewers ay nag-enjoy. And catch him guys sa YouTube, si Engineer Novellero, Inhenyerong Bolero. Paki-search na lang yan sa YouTube and watch his videos para sa mas informative na mga videos. Okay, so I think we can move on na sa open forum. Sa mga may tanong dyan sa ating viewers, pwede nyo yan i-comment sa ating comment section dito sa Zoom at Facebook Live. Paki-include lamang ang iyong pangalan at kung taga saan kayo for us to know kung sino ka. Or you can just turn on your mic here sa ating Zoom para magkaroon kayo ng interactive conversation with Sir Gilmore and our engineer. Okay, so while we are waiting for questions na ma-formulate ng ating viewers, shout out muna tayo dyan. Sinong gusto magpa-shout out dyan? Okay. Shout out dyan sa ating BSAT students, Kamalig and Ginubatan District Jail. Sa mga nanalo dyan, please remind ko po kayo na mag-reply sa message ng ating organizer para makuha nyo ang inyong prize. Kung ayaw nyo naman, it's okay. ibigay na lang natin yan sa nangangailangan. Cities. Okay, do we have questions na ba? Okay. Yung attendance link, we will put it here sa Zoom tsaka sa Facebook Live po. We'll just wait. Okay. The link po is already posted here sa Zoom. Do you guys have any questions? I think sa sobrang galing mag-discuss ng ating speaker, wala na tayong maitanong, di ba? Kasi sobrang informative talaga naman. Talaga namang napakagaling ng ating mga speaker. Check nga natin ang ating Facebook Live. Sino ba ang dito? Sa mga may question dyan. Uy, karamihan ng mga bisat and biset. Thank you for viewing our episode for today. Sana ay may mga nalaman naman kayo. And for sure, sa mga classmates ko dyan sa biset, very informative talaga naman ang episode na ito, hindi ba? Kasi gumawa lang din kami we recently made business plan. Diba? So for sure, naging helpful na, ganito pala dapat, ganito pala ang mga connected sa ginawa namin. Shout out nga dyan kay Mac J. Vendia na pogi kang Biset 3A. So, okay, we have one question here. Kung small business lang ako, kailangan ko po ba ng CBA?
Thank you for the question. Maybe I can begin with the answer. So, kung kanina nakikinig ka sa introduction ko, meron akong sobrang napaka-concrete example of regarding the importance of CBA. 'Di ba sabi ko, yung mga tindera nga sa palengke, pwedeng gumawa ng plan para ma-project nila kung kikita ba sila. Tapos yung ano nila, yung costing nila per product, 'di ba? Ganon. So, if you are a small entrepreneur or you are just starting your business, mini business, CBA can definitely help you, 'di ba? You will forecast, 'di ba? Makikita mo ngayon kung ano nga ba yung mga cost na kailangan kong isipin. Yung utilities, yung upfront cost, yung mga gagamitin mong equipment. Halimbawa, yung gagawin mo is a 3D printing business, 'di ba? So bibili ka ngayon ng 3D printer and that cost a lot. Mga sabihin nating 16,000, yung mga high-end na 3D printers, that will be mga 50,000 to hundreds of thousand. So those are the things that you can see if, sige sabihin nating small business. For example, you are thinking of creating a lugawan business. 'Di ba? Medyo ano 'yan, realistic na business, na small business sa province. So, ano nga ba yung mga kakailanganin mo? Siyempre, kailangan mo ng equipment. Paano ka magluluto? Kalderong malaki. Ano yung gas mo? So, those are the cost. Now, what will be your benefit? Your benefit will be the selling or the selling price or the selling units. Siyempre, magkano yung benta mo? Sabihin natin sa isang lugaw na plain, you will be selling it for 12 pesos or 10 pesos. And then, pag merong mga add-ons like itlog, o kaya yung laman loob, yung tinatawag sa Bicol, rabot, 'di ba? So those are the things that you can see as the benefits, yung selling units ng ating magiging small business. And also as benefits, magkakaroon ka ngayon ng ano nga ba yung iba pang benefits na intangible. So ang intangible na benefit, mapapakain mo ngayon yung mga nagugutom sa area na yon. That is an intangible benefit sa community. And pwede mo siyang evaluate. Dati maraming nagugutom na mga estudyante pag ganitong oras. And by this time, when I started my business, the Lugawan business, I started to see an improvement na yung mga estudyante hindi lang kumakain sa akin para mabusog, nagte-take out pa sila para kainin sa school, hindi na sila ngayon nalilipasan ng gutom. Those are intangible benefits, but definitely and hopefully, this example of mine would give at least an idea on how you will tackle your CBA if you are building your small business. Sana nasagot ko ng direkta yung question. And I think Dr. Alfindo will have a few more words to answer the question. Sir, it looks like you are muted, sir.
Okay na?
Yes, sir. Crystal clear.
Additional dun sa question na with regards kahit small business, I think yes, kailangan din kasi even small business, kailangan kasi you need to analyze the cost. For example, we have our own karinderya or karihan. Not yung costing nyon, you need to analyze kung ano ba, nag-i-income ka ba or hindi. And at the same time, hindi lang po yung nag-i-income ka or nagbe-benefit. Yung benefit po, yung tinitingnan natin dito, wherein nakakatulong ka in terms of employment, di ba? Di ba? Cost-benefit analysis, we're doing a business like a karinderya or etc. You can have a benefit on part of the yung mga crew mo, etc. So there is the so-called benefit in terms of the community or helping them to be employed person. So parang nakakatulong ka na din sa community. So it's better to have a cost-benefit analysis for you to them to study well kung ano ba yung pwede ko pang ma-improve dito sa business ko. Wherein you can have another branch or anything so that you can yung madami mong matutulungan sa community. Not much on focus on one area, but other area, you can do that. Diba, Sir Gilbert?
Yes, definitely, sir. Sobrang ganda ng additional item mo dun, sir. Pwede naman, di ba? We can forecast or we can project what would be the end point of our business in X number of years, di ba? Pwede mong gamitan ng linear regression analysis. So, pangalanan mo ngayon yung lugawan mo ng lugawan with linear regression analysis, di ba? Just kidding.
Yeah, that's so good. So yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yun. May interaction na tayo with the audience. So any other questions from our viewers and audiences from Zoom?
I think we have another question po. Paano daw ba ina-apply ang CBA sa Six Sigma for electronics industry or company alumni from BISET? Yan, question po yan from BISET.
Yan, very great answer because I can share something because I tried to undergo yellow belt certification sa Six Sigma when I was in an IT firm here in Manila. And CBA is not directly quoted, quote unquote, CBA sa Six Sigma process. Okay? Meron siyang ibang terminology, yung CBA na yan, that would be under financial analysis. But cost-benefit analysis as a model is definitely used in Six Sigma. Kasi sa Six Sigma, ano nga ba yung ina-avoid natin sa Six Sigma, di ba? Or sa Lean Six Sigma. Ina-avoid natin yung waste. I know if you are undergoing Six Sigma training, you know, the main idea of Six Sigma is to eliminate or mitigate nor eliminate the waste in the process. Kaya sa Six Sigma, more on process-oriented siya. Hindi siya project-oriented. So you are improving the process. You have this problem or you have this current situation, and you are seeing, you're collecting information. Saan nga ba tayo nagfe-fail dito sa process? We have this specific line. There's an issue here on this part of the process. Saan ang galing yon? Yung issue ba yon is nandun talaga mismo, or there is a root cause na pinanggalingan sa pinaka-previous na step or sa pinaka-previous na process. So in Six Sigma, we are not just looking at removing the wastes, but we are evaluating those wastes and convert into benefits so that our costing, our investments are properly managed and put into proper places. Ayan. Good thing na napagdaanan ko ang Six Sigma training. So I was able to impart something that I learned from my trainings. Any follow-up questions or anything else related to the question which was raised? Hopefully nasagot ko yung question. Medyo mahaba ang Six Sigma Six Sigma approach. Meron pang tinatawag na DMAIC, yung define, measure. Kasi meron pa yung term na sinasabing, if you cannot measure, you cannot improve. May ano dyan, saying sa Six Sigma. If you cannot measure, you cannot improve, or you cannot change anything about that. You cannot progress if you cannot measure one thing. Ayan.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for that very informative again na information, for entertaining our questions. So I think wala na tayong question. So remind ko lang ang ating viewers na mag-register na sa ating registration link para mabigyan kayo ng ating e-certificate. And thank you so much for participating and joining with us and supporting our extension activity. And to receive your yung e-certificate, just click the pinned comment dito sa Zoom section. And I don't know kung meron ng nakapinned na comment sa ating FB Live. And if not, please just message us. Please message me para masend ko ang link para sa inyo. So let's now move forward to the awarding for our guest speakers. This certificate of appreciation is presented to Engineer Gilbert Novellero for lending his time, effort, and expertise as part of the TechTalks webinar series episode 8, Cost-Benefit Analysis, this 12th of November 2022, organized by Bicol University College of Industrial Technology, Electrical Electronics Department. Okay, so I think this is the time na i-announce natin ang ating mga winners. Sino kaya? Diba? Sana all. Sorry sa mga na late mag-answer. Next time na lang. Okay, for our first winner, we have Hans Corteza. For our first winner, we have Hans Corteza. Corteza from BSAT 4A. For our second winner, we have Jefte I. Casulia. For our third winner, we have Victor John Farenas. Congratulations, guys, for winning our games. Thank you so much, engineer, for giving us the opportunity. Okay, now we will award our. Okay, thank you so much. Time flew by so fast now. I think we are already in the last part of our program, so I would like to have this opportunity to have the closing remarks. Allow me to give thanks to our speakers, once again, Dr. Olfindo and Engineer Novelero, for the 8th episode Tech Talks of our webinar series and giving us enough and additional knowledge na talaga namang napaka-helpful. So before we close, we would like to express our gratitude to the support and approval of the Bicol University administration headed by our admirable SUC President, Dr. Arnulfo M. Mascareñas, our passionate Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Amelia Dorosan, Vice President for Administration and Finance, Attorney Joseph Bartolata, Vice President for Research and Development and Extension, Dr. Luis Amano, and to our BUE MD Director Rowena Zoilo, our Busit administration headed by our supportive Dean, Dr. Jonathan Arroco, our dynamic Associate Dean, Professor Eileen Barlieras, to the faculty and staff. The technical team headed by the amazing Professor Ronel Oropesa, at syempre, the brainchild of this webinar is the BSET Program Advisor, Proponent, and Project Leader for this extension activity is none other than Dr. Kenzie Merenciano. Without his idea, of course, this event would be non-existent. Maraming salamat po. Without your approval and support, this webinar would fail to happen. Maraming salamat po sa taus-pusong suporta sa ating webinar series and of course sa Bicol University faculty. And syempre, maraming salamat din sa ating mga participants mula sa Zoom meeting and Facebook Live. The students of Bicol University, the students outside the Bicol University, alumni, and participants from other schools. Again, thank you so much for participating in this webinar series 8th episode. And catch us on our next episode of Tech Talks. We will be having our Associate Professor Antonio B. Buen Jr. as the resource speaker. The topic he will be discussing is all about off-grid solar installation. I think maraming excited dito next week. Live pa din po kami sa Facebook and also dito po sa Zoom. Paki-mark na po ang inyong calendar. November 19, 2022. Same day, same time, 9 to 12 noon. I hope you have gained new knowledge again today. This is your host, Jean Coop, looking forward to seeing you again on our next episode of the webinar series Tech Talks. See you guys next week. Happy lunchtime, everyone. You may now leave the Zoom meeting po. Thank you. Happy lunch.
Bye everyone. Thank you.
Congrats, sir. Bye-bye.
Congrats din po, sir. Thank you.
Thank you po.
This is the school we wish to sing, of a school to honor and revere, a temple built by man of firmness, a mold for you to walk with pride, for he will always be united, although we tread on distant land.
Zombie apocalypse.